It is currently Tuesday, April 15th, which means one thing: WrestleMania 41 is right around the corner. So today I'm going to be giving you guys all of my predictions for every single match that is on night 1 and night 2 of WrestleMania 41. So before we begin, make sure to leave a like and subscribe for some more wrestling or just sports content in general. So to kick things off for night 1 on WrestleMania 41, it's going to be Jade Cargill versus Naomi. Now, I will say it's very refreshing to have a women's match on a WrestleMania card that has no titles attached to it. And Triple H has done a fantastic job on just getting the hype up for this match. I mean, Jade Cargill being out for so long, Naomi with this new character gives such a breath of fresh air to this roster and to that women's division for the WWE. Now, when it comes to who I think is going to win this match, it's going to be Jade Cargill. And Jade Cargill absolutely needs a win, coming back from after such a long absence. And Naomi, even though she is probably going to lose this match, her character and her stance in the women's division will not falter if she loses at WrestleMania. Whereas Jade Cargill, in my opinion, if she loses, it's going to do her a lot worse than Naomi. Next up, we have Rey Mysterio versus El Grande Americano. So the WWE has done a pretty good job of making this also interesting because El Grande Americano is Chad Gable, and he is doing a very good job with this character, and it's very funny seeing that Chad Gable was supposed to be the next big thing when it comes to the Intercontinental Championship. That momentum quickly died, and bringing American Made into the mix with now the LWO and Rey Mysterio, it's kind of rejuvenized that potential that we have with Chad Gable, and him being El Grande Americano is the funniest thing ever. But I think what's going to happen is there's going to be a bunch of interference between the LWO, American Made, and Rey Mysterio is going to be the one who wins this match, and I think he does unmask El Grande Americano at the end. Next up, we have the World Tag Team Championship between the War Raiders and the New Day. Now, let's be perfectly honest here. This match should not be on WrestleMania because there just hasn't been enough hype to it. Like, if you take the people involved, yes, this is a WrestleMania-worthy match, but if you look at the build, it just happened so last second, and when you look at the other tag team division on SmackDown, you have about 4 or 5 teams who could legitimately make their case for a WrestleMania match. And whether or not they do a ladders match, I don't know, because on SmackDown, it is going to be the Street Profits against the Motor City Machine Guns. And so that match might end in a disqualification or a no contest, and that might lead to a ladder match on WrestleMania. We don't know yet. But when it comes to this tag team match, I mean, the New Day, I guess they need something going for them since their heel turn, because it's really been a whole lot of nothing, just a bunch of talking, and we don't really know what's going to happen. But in terms of the result, I do think the War Raiders are going to retain against the New Day because of a returning Big E. I just think you can't put this match on a WrestleMania so suddenly without the potential return of a superstar. Now, whether Big E really gets involved in the match or is just a distraction is up to the status of his health and his neck injury. But yeah, I believe the War Raiders are probably going to retain due to the fact that Big E is going to interfere. Next up, we have the United States Championship match between LA Knight and Jacob Fatu. Now, I will say I'm a big fan of both of these superstars. LA Knight is absolutely fantastic. Jacob Fatu has been a beast since coming to the roster, and I just think that this is finally Jacob Fatu's time to step away from Solo Sikoa and the Timu bloodline a little bit, because he has so much potential as a single superstar. And when it comes to LA Knight, yes, he's had the championship multiple times now. His momentum has really died off a little bit, even though people still love him, me included. But I think it's time for him to move on and face somebody else, maybe in a more high-stakes rivalry that doesn't involve a championship. So yeah, or maybe even the Tag Team Championship, who knows. Next up for the WWE Women's Championship, we have Tiffany Stratton going up against Charlotte Flair. Now, if you have been paying attention to the build of this match, it is absolutely diabolical, the chemistry between these two superstars. And it got to the point where they're mentioning real world stuff. Tiffany Stratton mentioning Charlotte Flair's marriage situation, the fact that she's been divorced 3 times, and Charlotte Flair saying that Ludwig Kaiser, Tiffany Stratton's partner, is in her DMs, even though that was apparently false, but it just caused Charlotte Flair to say that. These two cannot cut a promo against each other to save their lives. And now they're just having Charlotte Flair like just attack Tiffany Stratton. And I think that, yes, in the ring, this is going to be a fantastic match. It's just super unfortunate that we've been waiting for this match for so long, and the hype and the build to it has just been so poor. Now, the funny thing is, I don't know actually who to predict in terms of the winner of this match, because you could easily have Tiffany Stratton retain over Charlotte Flair and give her that big WrestleMania match win, or you can go with Charlotte Flair, who is chasing, more title records. She's trying to go for her dad's title record, or even John Cena if he wins. I think they've been teasing Charlotte Flair versus Jade Cargill for too long not to do it. Now, whether that's for the title or not, I just don't see the motivation for Jade Cargill versus Charlotte Flair without a title. Like, what is the reason other than just to be the best? But neither of them having the title necessarily means that they're not the best at the moment. So you know what I mean? So I think in terms of a result, even though she's been fantastic with the title, I think I am going to go with the Charlotte Flair victory. And she's either going to go up against Jade Cargill or somebody else in the future. Next up, we have the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, Gunther versus Jey Uso. This one's going to be pretty simple. Jey Uso's winning. You don't have him defeat John Cena at the Royal Rumble to win the most hyped up Royal Rumble in recent memory just for him to lose against Gunther. I think we're seeing very similar patterns if you're paying attention to the promos and just the build up to this fight between Sami Zayn and Gunther last year for the Intercontinental Championship. It's just too similar to me that the WWE is going to swerve and have Gunther beat Jey Uso. And I believe because the draft is around the corner, we could have Gunther go up against the winner of the Cody Rhodes versus John Cena match. And I think that provides a very juicy matchup, if that makes sense. Like, it's too much of a dream match to have Gunther go up against John Cena for them not to do it, in my opinion. So I think Jey Uso is going to beat Gunther, and then Gunther in the draft is going to move over to SmackDown and probably go up against John Cena. And even still, it's going to be really good to see Jey Uso finally get his moment. I mean, he's been hyped up with the crowd for so long. We were seeing this with LA Knight. It just didn't get quite hot at the right time because Roman Reigns was the champion at the time. He was double champ. They didn't introduce the World Heavyweight Championship. But now we're seeing with Jey Uso that he was with the Bloodline. Now he's outside of the Bloodline. He's now main event Jey Uso. He defeats John Cena at the Royal Rumble. Like, it's just too much momentum going with Jey Uso for them not to pull the trigger. So I think Jey Uso is finally going to do it, and he's going to win the World Heavyweight Championship. And your main event for night one is a triple threat match between Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, and CM Punk. Now, you knew pretty much from the Royal Rumble that this was going to be a WrestleMania match, and the fact that it's the main event, it makes total sense to me. And mind you, this is going to be Roman Reigns' first WrestleMania match in a very long time where he's not fighting for the championship or he's coming in as a champion. And I think they're building this absolutely perfectly. And the overarching story going into this match is, what is Paul Heyman going to do? Before Roman Reigns, he was with CM Punk. And now he's been with Roman Reigns for so long, and now Punk is back. And of course, the favor that CM Punk wants is that he wants Paul Heyman in his corner and not Roman Reigns's. But now we have to talk about Seth Rollins in this match, because now he's inserted himself into the mind of Roman Reigns, Paul Heyman, and CM Punk. I think that Seth Rollins is ultimately going to win this match because of the distractions between Roman Reigns, CM Punk, and Paul Heyman. They've already teased it so many times during the build that Paul Heyman is not going to be able to decide between the two. He's too loyal to CM Punk and Roman Reigns. And that's when Seth Rollins at WrestleMania, he likes to take advantage of a situation, and he's going to do just that. I've seen rumors out there that Paul Heyman's going to side with Seth Rollins. That would be kind of funny, but I don't think Paul Heyman needs Seth Rollins and vice versa. Plus, I think Roman Reigns versus CM Punk is a match you can do as a singles match down the line, either at a SummerSlam or a Money in the Bank or whatever the case may be. Moving on to night two, we have AJ Styles versus Logan Paul. Now, if we're being totally honest, this has no build to it as well. It's just two guys who are just really, really good in the ring. And that's what the WWE is ultimately counting on here. You have AJ Styles, one of the greatest wrestlers of all time, and you have Logan Paul, who just seems to have a fantastic match with whoever is across the ring from him. And in my opinion, this is going to be AJ Styles winning. He needs a good WrestleMania outing, because if you look at his previous WrestleMania matches, his best one is against Shane McMahon. Now, I know name value, Logan Paul isn't up there with an Edge or Randy Orton or somebody of that magnitude. AJ Styles is going to have a good outing against Logan Paul, but ultimately he is going to come out on top because AJ Styles is not going to be wrestling for much longer, and I think he needs his WrestleMania moment. Next up, we have our only stipulation fight as of right now for WrestleMania. It's a Sin City street fight between Damian Priest and Drew McIntyre. I love the fact that this is a street fight. It fits both of these guys perfectly. Damian Priest, of course, being from the streets of Puerto Rico, he has that grittiness to him because of like how he was brought up and his wrestling style. And of course, we saw the street fight against Bad Bunny and San Juan. So I think that this stipulation fits him perfectly. When it comes to Drew McIntyre, I mean, this stipulation fits him perfectly because he's just an aggressive SOB. And his character is literally, I am better than you and I will do whatever it takes to be on top. So putting him in a street fight against Damian Priest is absolutely perfect in my opinion. Now, who do I think is going to win? I think McIntyre is going to win because he just needs it more than Damian Priest. Damian Priest had his WrestleMania moment last year. McIntyre's had his as well, but it kind of got ruined because of his character work with him and CM Punk. McIntyre needs this win more than Damian Priest. I think if Priest loses, he doesn't lose as much as if Drew McIntyre loses, because if McIntyre loses, what does he do next? Whereas Damian Priest, there's a couple alleyways you could go, whether it's with the Judgment Day or potentially visiting Gunther again. There's a lot of ways you can go with Damian Priest, whereas McIntyre, I feel like, needs to win to then give himself a reason to go for a title. Next up, we have probably one of the most exciting matches other than the main event. It's the Intercontinental Championship Fatal 4-Way match between Braun Breaker, Dominic Mysterio, Penta, and Finn Balor. Now, I will say I am openly a Finn Balor fanboy. He is one of my OGs, one of my boys that I always support no matter what situation he's in. And yes, he's been screwed over for so many years now. And I really, really want to back him in this match, but unfortunately, I'm not going to be doing so. I think he's there just to take the pin, if I'm being totally honest, because Dominic Mysterio is not going to get pinned. Penta is on such a hot streak, he can't be pinned. And usually when there's multi-man matches around a championship, it's so that the champion can't get pinned. So I don't think Braun Breaker is going to get pinned either. So unfortunately, Finn Balor is there to get pinned, but I will be supporting him no matter what. Now, do I think Breaker is going to retain? No, I don't think he is. This is finally a good opportunity to get the title off of him. I think he's destined for greater things. I think he's going to have a pretty good rivalry with anybody else that's not for a title before they eventually put him into that title picture, whether it's the World Heavyweight Championship or the WWE Championship. So that leaves Dominic Mysterio and Penta. Now, it would make a ton of sense for Penta to win because he's been on such a hot streak, and if you pin Finn Balor, I mean, it's the face versus the heel, and I think he would have a fantastic WrestleMania moment. But they've been teasing this new member of the Judgment Day with Dominic Mysterio. Now, whoever that is, I feel like it's more likely that they're going to debut at WrestleMania. It's going to be this shock moment, and then Dominic Mysterio is gonna get the pin on Finn Balor. I think that just makes too much sense versus Penta, where it's more of a wrestling psychology thing that makes sense. And I think Penta is gonna have his moment very soon anyways. It would make so much sense for him to defeat Dominic Mysterio for the IC Championship. So even though it pains me to say this, Finn Balor is losing, he's taking the pin, and Dominic Mysterio is going to be winning the Intercontinental Championship. I think he deserves it, if we're being totally honest. Next up, we have the Women's Tag Team Championship between Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez versus Bayley and Lyra Valkyria. Now, before we talk about this match itself, I just want to talk about the women's mid-card in general. We've been asking and begging for the WWE to introduce some women's Intercontinental or United States Championships. They finally do that. They give it to the right people in Lyra Valkyria and Chelsea Green, and they don't defend it. Like, I don't know what is going on. Why is the women's mid-card championship? Like, it's like Braun Breaker teaming with, I don't know, The Miz, and then going up for the tag team championships. Like, it makes zero sense to me. Now, the only thing that I can see making sense in this scenario is Bayley turning heel on Lyra Valkyria to then set up a future match between the two. But at the same time, Bayley just went from being a heel to a face, so for her to go back to a heel so soon doesn't make sense to me. And also, there hasn't really been a build for this match. It was just this really long gauntlet match that Bayley and Valkyria ended up winning. So honestly, I just think that Liv and Raquel are going to retain. I don't think it makes any sense for Bayley and Lyra to win this match. Next up, we have the WWE Women's World Championship match between Io Sky, Rhea Ripley, and Bianca Belair. Now, it's not a surprise to me that this triple threat is very similar to the triple threat between Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, and CM Punk. Because really, in that feud, it's CM Punk versus Roman Reigns with Seth Rollins in the match. Now, I know Rollins and Reigns have their existing rivalry from the past, so that does help that match. But if you look at this triple threat match, it's really Rhea Ripley versus Bianca Belair with Io Sky being there. The only difference is that Io Sky is a champion, so therefore she should matter. But if you've been paying attention to the build up to this match, Rhea Ripley and Bianca Belair not only verbally but physically ignoring Io Sky. And I think the person who's on the out is going to win the triple threat match. I think Io Sky retains, and I think it sets up Rhea Ripley versus Bianca Belair in the future. We haven't seen an iteration of this Rhea Ripley versus this Bianca Belair. Now, are they going to turn Belair heel? We don't know yet. They're teasing it. I think they should, but whether or not they do or not, I don't know. Rhea Ripley is so famous and so popular, whether she's a face or a heel, people are going to cheer for her. But in this match, it's pretty simple. I think Rhea Ripley and Belair are just going to be going at each other, and they're going to get so caught up in each other that Io Sky is probably going to hit a moonsault through the both of them and end up retaining. And last but not least, we have the final match of WrestleMania. It's the champion Cody Rhodes defending his undisputed WWE Championship against the new heel John Cena. Now, I'm pretty sure you can see it. I got a John Cena poster in the back. I'm choosing John Cena to win his 17th world title. It just makes too much sense. John Cena finally turns heel. He sells his soul to The Rock, and he finally gets his last championship because he realizes he's running out of time. This is his last year, so his motivation for winning, he's at an all-time desperate John Cena. And I think The Rock is going to get involved, whether it's distracting Cody Rhodes, physically attacking Cody Rhodes, telling the ref to stop counting or to count faster, things of that nature, because he's the final boss. Now, I really, really hope that Cody Rhodes has some backup now, whether that's, I don't know, a Jey Uso or somebody else, a Sami Zayn, Randy Orton maybe, because Randy Orton clearly has nothing to do going into WrestleMania, so maybe Cody Rhodes calls up Randy Orton to help him out against John Cena. It's totally possible. Or the biggest return that people are saying is Stone Cold Steve Austin. Apparently he is going to be in Vegas for WrestleMania. I think it made so much sense last year because, again, Cody Rhodes going up against The Rock, it made a ton of sense for Stone Cold to come out. Now, again, real world stuff, legalities and contracts and stuff, they weren't able to get that Stone Cold Steve Austin return done. But this year, who knows? It would be crazy to have John Cena and The Rock, two icons, two pioneers of this business, going up against Stone Cold Steve Austin and Cody Rhodes, two, again, icons and pioneers of this business. I think Cody Rhodes has put himself into that conversation now of not only now being the face of the WWE, but in the future, he's going to be the face of the WWE. But in the end, I think it's too much for Cody Rhodes, and I think John Cena is finally going to win. And this sets up a ton of matches down the line. I think most notably at Money in the Bank, I think John Cena should defend his title against CM Punk. It's just too perfect. It's right there. It's written in the stars. Just do it. And then you could have John Cena go up against Gunther, AJ Styles, Drew McIntyre, whoever it is that you want to put up against him, and just have this legendary final title run. And then in the end, I think it all culminates with a John Cena versus Randy Orton match, whether it's a Saturday night main event or something, a special edition of Friday Night SmackDown or Monday Night Raw on Netflix. The very last one of the year, John Cena versus Randy Orton, and then you have Randy Orton take out John Cena, win the title, and John Cena can retire. Anyways, that is it for this video. Let me know what you guys think of my predictions. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree? Let's just have a civil conversation, because at the end of the day, this is set up to be a fantastic WrestleMania. Let's just enjoy it together. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more. Peace.